Skip this for a year, and you'll stay busy while your ideas quietly level off. You won't notice until it's late. That's the risk. In the next few minutes, you'll see how creators set up conditions that made insight more likely, and how ignoring those conditions nudges your work toward the average. Quick question before we start. When was the last time you were bored without reaching for your phone? Drop it in the comments. Multiple studies on insight problem solving suggest that short periods of quiet rest increase the odds of breakthrough moments. That sounds small. Over months, it adds up. Everyone says creativity needs more input, more books, more podcasts, more tools. What if it needs less? Leonardo da Vinci didn't binge tutorials. He stared at unfinished canvases. Not painting, not sketching, just looking. Picture a quiet studio, dust in angled sunlight, the smell of oil and wood, an empty wall. He isn't working, yet his mind isn't idle. Neuroscience calls this the default mode network. It's the state your brain enters in the shower, on a long drive, or staring at the ceiling at night. Distant ideas begin to link. Less input, more connection. Think of the mind like a snow globe. Shake it constantly, and you see noise. Set it down and patterns appear. Rule 1, Space Protocol. Schedule 15 to 30 minutes of deliberate inactivity each day. No phone, no music, no notes. Sit or walk slowly. Let your mind drift without steering it. Afterward, jot down what came up. Notice whether spontaneous ideas appear more often after a week. Notice whether answers come faster after a month. Scenario: you're stuck on a strategic problem. You push harder, search, read, collect. Nothing moves. You stop. Walk quietly for 20 minutes. 2 unrelated projects merge into one solution. That's space doing its job. So far, one thing matters: fewer inputs, more internal connections. Shareable line. You don't need more input. You need more space. Silence creates space. Unfinished work keeps it active. Now let's talk about tension. Agatha Christie often stopped mid-chapter. Da Vinci left notebooks full of half-drawn machines. It looks like procrastination. It isn't. The Zeigarnik effect suggests unfinished tasks stay active in the mind longer than finished ones. Here's the short version. Finish a task and the brain closes the loop. Stop at peak tension and the loop stays open. Open loops get revisited. Revisited ideas build on themselves. Picture a novelist stopping with a character frozen at a locked door, right before it opens. All evening, the mind circles the scene. By morning, the answer arrives with weight she couldn't force at midnight. Or a software engineer who writes one sharp question. Why does memory spike after the third call? Then shuts the laptop. During a run the next day, the pattern clicks. The fix takes 10 minutes. The incubation took 12 hours. Rule 2, tension. Protocol. End work sessions mid-problem. Write one precise sentence defining the unresolved tension. Then, leave the workspace. Checkpoint. Notice whether ideas surface in showers, walks, idle moments. Finish everything and your brain rests. Leave something open and it works for you. Space lets ideas wander. Tension gives them something to work on. Now we strengthen the mind that uses both. Nikola Tesla ran experiments in his head before touching a tool. This is productive struggle, staying with a problem before letting the world answer it. Instant answers feel efficient. They're also fragile. Struggle forces your brain to test assumptions instead of borrowing them. That's how internal models form. When references arrive, you know what fits and what's noise. Imagine a designer staring at a blank page. No references. 25 minutes. First comes discomfort, then repetition, then a mistake, then a strange connection. The negative space between 2 letters mirrors the product's function. Insight arrives when friction peaks. Rule 3. Productive struggle. Define the problem precisely. Spend 25 uninterrupted minutes generating attempts without references. Only then look outward. Checkpoint. Notice how calm you feel in the empty room after 2 weeks. That calm is capacity. Ignore this rule for a year, and you won't notice the shift until your work starts to look like everyone else's. We've built space, tension, and depth. Next, make thought visible. Da Vinci's notebooks weren't archives. They were workspaces. Writing is cognitive externalization, getting ideas out of your head so they stop hiding. 3 pages a day. No editing, raw transcription. Then circle what repeats. Repeated words, images, irritations. Repetition is signal. One example. A designer writes daily complaints about clients. After 2 weeks, the same phrase keeps appearing. I keep translating. Not designing, translating confusion into clarity. She builds a workshop around that skill. The insight wasn't invented. It was there. Rule 4. Externalize. Protocol. Write fast. Return only to notice patterns. Force one connection between 2 unrelated entries. Checkpoint. After 14 days, you can name the patterns shaping your work. Space opened the field. Tension kept it active. Struggle built depth. Writing made patterns visible. Now focus force. Constraints aren't cages, they're lenses. When options are endless, attention spreads thin. When options are few, attention digs. Picasso restricted palettes. Musicians limit instruments. The workaround becomes the signature. Rule 5. Constraint. Protocol. Choose one severe constraint time. Tools. Format. Create only within it. Checkpoint. Within 5 sessions, notice whether the work's structure, not just the topic, changes. One example. A writer sets 120 words. No letter E. 17 minutes. Awkward at first. Then sentences sharpen. A new voice appears. It revealed it. Constraints turn wandering into aim. Now the collision point. Insight lives at intersections. Da Vinci stacked anatomy beside mechanics until a third idea appeared. Here's one cross-pollination example. Problem: hospital handoff errors. Safe case: standard training longer checklists, more reminders. Errors barely move. More detail didn't change the structure. Edge case: a nurse studies airline checklists, critical items, ready back confirmation. Improvement appears, but inconsistently. The structure helped, but context still leaked. Breakthrough: a 3-item handoff with verbal confirmation and a 10-second pause. Errors drop. The same rule moved to a different domain with a cleaner result. Rule 6. Cross-pollinate. Action step: pick 2 distant domains this week. Map 1 shared structure. Prototype 1 small fusion. Ignore this, and you become efficient at old answers. The final synthesis changes how you see talent. Silence creates space. Unfinished work sustains tension. Struggle builds depth. Writing clarifies patterns. Constraints focus force. Cross-pollination adds new raw material. Run it as a 7-day loop. Day 1. 2 to 15 30 minutes of silence. Day 3. Stop mid-it problem. Leave it open. Day 4. 1 productive struggle session. No references. Day 5. 3 pages of writing. Circle repeats. Day 6. Apply 1 harsh constraint. Day 7. Force 1 cross-disciplinary merge. Same rules, different outcome because the conditions changed. A novelist used this for a week. 2 silent mornings surfaced a childhood image. An unfinished chapter sparked a line during a commute. A word cap tightened the prose. By day 7, a short story emerged, lean and alive. A designer did the same. 1 unsolved sketch pinned above the desk. 3 handwritten pages of user frustration. A rule: redesign using only existing materials. The scrap prototype outperformed the polished one. Multiple studies suggest quiet rest increases the odds of insight. Imagine 4 weeks of this system. Creativity isn't a gift, it's a set of conditions. It's built, not mystical. Shareable line: finish everything and your brain rests. Leave something open, and it works for you. Within the next 24 hours, schedule one 20-minute silent session and leave one task unfinished. Comment with the number of the rule you'll start with, 16, and come back in 7 days to report what surprised you.